Five, four, three, two, one.
All things are numbers. According to Pythagoras, within every single thing in this world, you will always find numbers. Everything in the universe functions according to the rule of numbers. Therefore, everything can be explained and understood through calculation, the manipulation of numbers. Since this discovery, multitudes of eminent scientists have mathematically proven many great truths. However, on the other hand, there are many, many mysteries that remain unproven and unexplained. In our story, one of the most difficult of those mysteries is about to be resolutely confronted. It is the story of a group of very particular young people.
You should try eating some real food once in a while, Yukimura.
This is sufficiently nutritious.
You could also benefit from exposure to sunlight. Serotonin deficiency can be a hindrance to cerebral efficiency.
Thanks for the advice. What really matters is that you're 3 minutes late.
2 minutes and 32 seconds for the record. In science and engineering, you need to be more precise about time.
Save your arguments till after you've made up for the 3 minutes you've already wasted.
That handicap works for me. What's more important is, you have time to hurry up with that polynomial time reduction, right? Your presentation is due soon.
I've determined the objective already. It's the Hamiltonian path problem.
And I assume you'll just copy Richard Karp's work again?
I am using it as a reference, but my work is totally original. Don't assume your assumptions are correct.
I so look forward to seeing your convoluted presentation.
I'll be sure to rate it simply enough so that even your brain can comprehend it.
By the way, Yukimura,
What is it now, Himuro?
it appears I have fallen in love with you.
Myself, I have no experience with what might be called romance. However, Himuro, I do consider you an intelligent and worthy rival, and I suppose that if pressed for an answer, I couldn't say that I have no affection for you. Be that as it may, don't know if I'm in love with you or not. First, how exactly does one define love? Can you provide any empirical evidence that you're in love?
Of course. Determining that without credible data means I'd be a failure as a scientist. This is the data that supports the hypothesis that I am in love with you. The numbers aren't fully verified yet. It's a work in progress.
Significant increase in heart rate when I'm with him. Percentage of dreams he's appeared in. Well, now I understand. Basing a conclusion on data like this, it's a personal opinion, nothing more.
True. For the moment, let's put it like this.
Yes, we want to prove that love and love prime are equal, but would that correlation concur with what is generally known as love? There seem to be too many factors that are excessively generalized. Time I've been captivated by the sight of him thinking. Wait, that doesn't seem right. What is it?
Nothing really. I began growing more conscious of you after you appeared in a dream on April 12th. The frequency is shown on this graph.
Being in your dream leads to increased awareness. I've had lots of people in my dreams. I've even had you in a few of them. What exactly happened between us in your dream?
Is that information really necessary?
You can tell me. If the information is accurate, then having more won't hurt.
Well then, we held hands.
We have to document this accurately. Ambiguous phraseology will only hinder a now.
Listen, Yukimura, you said I appeared in some of your dreams too, didn't you? What exactly happened between us in those dreams?
Is that information really necessary?
You can tell me. If the information is accurate, then having more won't hurt.
Well then, we held hands.
What? What did you just say? This point of commonality. Is it coincidence?
At this stage, I can't say for certain, though it does show relevance.
Good morning! Oh, hi Himuro. Hi there, Yukimura. Wow, looks like you're
Which
here early.
means that romantic affection and its determination can be rendered in a formula like this. A is in love with B. Parentheses, A and B belong to the category of human. Close parentheses. If by discovering the conditions which generally indicate love, we can construct a Turing machine like this, and then...
Then that means we can determine whether I love you or not. Now I see where you're going.
And that's not all. With this kind of formula, we can even determine whether I love you or not.
This topic is much more interesting than I thought.
Right. And I thought romance was something only for idiots who run on impulses and mindless urges. Even romance appears to be an aggregation of numbers and data.
So, is love a 0 or a 1?
That's what we'll find out.
What are these crazy people talking about? It's ridiculous.
Yukimura, we shouldn't be doing this at all.
We're not done with our experiment. Please don't try to escape.
Yukimura.
Right, we're done. Starting at 3:27 p.m. for 10 seconds, experiment conducted using the common wall slam.
Interesting. Trembling due to nervousness, vocal agitation. It's clear you're not used to this sort of experimentation, Yukimura.
Himuro, we're not interested in that kind of data. The really important thing here is your heart rate. How was it? Pulse is 147. It's about par for a full-on sprint. Interesting. Your heart rate was quite elevated.
At any rate, if we continue these sorts of experiments, we may be able to find the evidence as to whether I love you or not, Yukimura. Let's try the next one.
Right.
Don't even think about asking me what the two of them are up to. Preconditions for believing you're in love with someone. Are you serious?
Kanade, what would make you think you've fallen in love with someone?
What? Me? I'm a... Wait a minute. Let me see. Oh. this kind of thing? When I feel my heart racing, that kind of thing, I guess. Probably?
Heart racing? That's one of the conditions Himuro listed too.
That's right, exactly.
It's the heart rate.
If we monitor the heart rate, we can quantitatively measure thrilling palpitations of love.
Let's get the heart rate monitor ready. We can start the experiments immediately.
Let's do it. Now then, these making the heart race situations, I think we ought to continue them.
Yes, we should. Wall slam first, then we could...
Then what? Well, we can always look it up on the internet.
Sources for online information are generally unverifiable, but we have no choice.
The ideal angle for a chin seems to be between 30 and 40 degrees.
It appears to be the same as artificial respiration. I wonder if opening the airway is the objective. Stand behind them and roll their sleeves up. What significance could an action like this have?
I don't know, but the height differential is very exacting. They say 23 centimeters is ideal. We should check on the academic corroboration of this action.
Now what? Sweet potato fries. We would need some sweet potato fries for this one?
If my hypothesis is correct, Yukimura, would you please take your glasses off?
What hypothesis? Can you explain?
I knew I was right.
Right about what?
Forget it, let's get on to the next.
Out of all the things we've tried, actions that reduce distance between us seem to have a tendency to exponentially increase heart rate. Don't tell me you're tired of this already.
I'd say this brings us as close as possible. Let's stay this way for a while. The more we lengthen the test period, the more data we collect.
That is essentially true, but then, She's gone and fallen asleep? Now what? Should I halt the experiment? How does she have the audacity to look so happy? And what are the exact components comprising this sweet fragrance? Okay, we've tried many different situations. This is your heart rate during the experiment, Himuro. In every case, you'll notice very high peak readings.
Question? That last part on the right, sort of. It looks like she was feeling super relaxed there.
Don't pay attention to that. It was a system glitch.
At any rate, there's no denying Himuro's heart was racing like a bat out of hell. Doesn't that prove once and for all that she's in love?
It is too soon to come to that conclusion.
Huh? Why's that?
You must keep in mind, Kanade, experimental results mustn't be interpreted carelessly for convenience sake. Even in this manga, superficially, it may appear that this woman is in love. The profuse amount of sweat, palpitations, a flushed face. What do you deduce from those characteristics?
It could be signs of early menopause.
I had the same thought.
Not a chance ever.
Excitement, stress, feverishness. A racing heart could be caused by many things. It's reasonable to doubt that the racing or palpitating heart was definitely caused by feelings of love.
In this experiment, it seemed that my wall slam was responsible for the increased pulse rate. However, we can't say for certain that some stimulus other than my wall slam hadn't coincidentally occurred, thus causing the increase.
But if that's the case, then you'll never reach a conclusion, really, no matter how many experiments you conduct. Huh?
Perhaps. But let's try a few more experiments to make totally sure. During the second experiment, if my heart races again, then hypothesis B, my heart coincidentally raced, would be rendered less likely than in the first case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so, but
If we achieve the same result no matter how many times we do it, that likelihood decreases towards zero.
The hypothesis we're trying to put forth, hypothesis A, has a hypothesis which negates it, hypothesis B. A null hypothesis.
Null hypothesis. In order for you stupid humans to understand this concept, I, the people's idol, Rikekuma, the science bear, will give you a simple explanation, Bear. A null hypothesis is a type of hypothesis that appears in statistics that negates the hypothesis you originally put forth, Bear. Say, for example, that you want to prove that crows are black, Bear. So, you go out and find 100 crows and all of them are indeed black, Bear. But there could be a rainbow crow out there and you just didn't find it. That's what some irritating punk would say. Oh, it's so freaking annoying when they do that, Bear. This is exactly when you create an impossible hypothesis, which opposes the hypothesis that crows are black, Bear. Half the crows are black and half a rainbow. You get the picture, Bear. That's a null hypothesis, so the chances of finding 100 black crows in a row is lower than the 1 in a trillion chance of a meteorite landing on your head, Bear. Ow! So, what if a punk bear says 90% are black and the rest are fluorescent pink? What then, Bear? Even with that, the chances of finding 100 black crows in a row is about 0.00265%. Pretty unlikely, huh, Bear? When black reaches about 97.1%, the chances of all black increase to over 5%, and it finally starts to border on being possible. In the field of statistics, if the probability of occurrence is below 5%, it's pretty much considered zero. That's a fact, Bear. In statistics, by disproving a null hypothesis like this, you can prove your original hypothesis, Bear. This was a freaking pain, Bear.
And that's the reason. To reduce the likelihood to below 5%, doing the wall slam an additional 60 times should be enough.
And it won't just be my heart rate. We'll be measuring yours too, Yukimura.
Yeah, try spending your whole life doing that. I'm back!
I think it might be prudent to analyze this from a different perspective.
Why?
You two seem to be hard at work.
Hello, Kanade.
Anything wrong, Yukimura? You look like you're kind of struggling with something.
Yes, sort of. We continued with the wall slam, but then an anomaly was introduced. Initially, the effect was clear. Her heart rate consistently increased. But as the number of trials progressed, that increase began to gradually diminish.
Ah, she must have gotten used to it.
After that, we continued to 100 wall slams just in case. Her heart rate didn't change at all.
Of course not!
I'll admit it's true that in the beginning I really did experience a sort of throbbing in my chest. And I kept thinking to myself, this is it. I must really be in love with him. But as we continued, I started thinking, what is this guy doing?
The data shows no significant difference between resting heart rate and wall slam heart rate. How can that be? Was it really just coincidence?
I was thinking about that data. Something's been nagging me for the longest time. I decided to apply motion capture to analyze the video from the experiment, and the results are unusual.
What the?
Now watch this.
No, it can't be. The similarity of movement is astonishing.
That's right. When you perform a wall slam that many times in succession, it stops being a wall slam. What you were actually doing, Yukimura, was in reality a wall slap.
Doskoi! 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 Doskoi!
You're right. That was a wall slap. And that's not a situation to make a woman's heart beat faster. That's why your cardiac rhythms continue to stay the same.
It's ridiculous! I can't believe you still don't get it! That's not it!
What's not it?
You're trying to measure feelings, and I don't think you can do that with love. You're talking about something that can't even be measured with data and numbers anyway.
What are you basing that upon? If you know a counterexample, I need proof.
When I was in high school, my math teacher would give us math puzzles every day. I loved them. I thought they were really fun. Mr. Takahashi?
Did you have a question?
The Tower of Hanoi puzzle, I tried using a recurrence relation to solve it. Would you mind checking it?
That's it. 2 to the nth minus 1. Good job solving it, Kanade. And that's not all. It only gets more interesting from here, because...
He was so handsome when he was absorbed in talking about math. I guess I sort of fell in love with him, with my teacher. After that, all I wanted was for him to pay attention to me, so I put everything I had into studying math. And thanks to that, I became a science geek. It's strange, isn't it? If it means you can be with the person you love, you can have success at anything.
I think I understand. You're right.
So I think falling in love, in some ways, is something like that. I guess. So it's not... I think I'm trying to say, I'm not doing a very good job, am I?
I see now.
Ah! Don't you go making any weird definitions like that!
Kanade, are there other people you've fallen in love with?
Well, there might have been 2 or 3.
What are you trying to make me say?
This new information you've given us is extremely instructive.
What do you mean by that?
Between your love and Himuro's love, there may be points of commonality. If there are points of commonality with other loves, Love Prime, Himuro Love, Yukimura intersects Love Prime, Kanade Love, Takahashi intersects Love Prime, Kanade Love X intersects Love Prime, Kanade Love Y would likely be very close to the general preconditions for love.
Can we not say Kanade love again?
To move forward, you need to provide me a list with every detail of your love life thus far.
Could you ask me something a little easier?
I think that's about enough, wouldn't you say?
What do you think you're doing?
You're embarrassing her. Normal people don't like to talk about love.
How is that relevant? Her dad
So
is
she does
absolutely
realize that she's not
fundamental.
normal.
Maybe true, but you're
Wow.
still being too aggressive. That's why you don't have any friends.
One way or another, if this research is valid, then I don't care how hated I am. No pain, no gain. No results without
And
sacrifice.
there you have it. This is how 2 science nerds, a man and a woman, started their own great experiment with each other.
Hero,